Next, Department Quarterly Report, Director Rios.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I attached a few different documents this time. The GDX was published, which is the gross distribution of funds expenditure for VA. So basically that tells us an estimate of how many veterans we have in our county and how much comp and pension is received in our county as far as income coming in. And then at the very end, it says unique patients. Well, that number is how many of our county residents are enrolled in health care at the VA. So that is 9,319. So this gives you a comparison with all the other counties in Michigan. And also the total at the end of the report for how many veterans in Michigan, which is 623,000 for Michigan. So that's some data that you can use.
Yes, it is.
So then some other data. We did gain our new space from Legal Services. They moved over to the 32 Market Street, and we jumped on the 4 offices that they vacated as fast as we could. So fast that across the hall was wanting my space. So senior Services was wanting it, and let's see, who else was wanting it? Unemployment from Department of State. Unemployment wanted it. I'm like, yeah, get in line. So we are now, we already have it carpeted and painted. We found out as we were moving some people in there that we have no IT. So IT is going to take probably 2 or 3 months because it was a civilian company. Legal Aid Defenders was a civilian company. They had their own IT system. So they weren't connected to our hub. So now I'm just waiting for IT to come and figure out how long it's going to take to get us all networked in there. So we did do our hiring back in April, and I've offered jobs to 2 veterans, and they both turned them down. So we waited 6 weeks, and one guy, we offered it to him. He was coming from Grayling. He was already accredited service officer, and the day before he was to show, he decided, nah, I don't want to come. So then we did more interviews about 3 weeks ago. We offered it to someone last week, and he took another job as he was waiting to hear from us. So we had 2 good folks kind of run through our hands because of our delay. So we're back. We just posted on Friday, so now our opening for service officer is posted again for 10 days. Our clerk position was filled real quick.
Very good.
Okay. So.
We need a motion to receive and file. We have a motion by Leonetti, support. We have speakers, Don Brown, Commissioner Brown. Hello. You're still there. Lucido.
Hello.
Probably not.
Look at the data you provided on a lot of good information.
Are we looking at the GDX or a quarterly sheet?
Your quarterly report.
Okay.
And both, actually, but the quarterly report first. Are there any duplicate counts in any of these numbers? I'm always curious about, when we do evaluations of how much work someone's doing, sometimes they count the same person twice. They might be in there for 2 type of things, but maybe we're counting them twice. Is there any of that going on?
Well, we do count the numbers at the top, which are contacts. That's how many people walk through our door. So if it takes them 4 visits to do a claim, that count is going to be up there 4 times this quarter. Okay. Now, under number 3, fully developed claims, it's going to only go as once.
Right.
Because I'm only submitting 1 claim to the VA.
So that's really the number we want to look at, how much traffic is really coming in there.
Yeah, so the number 1 section, which is personal contact, that's traffic. That's total traffic. All the other numbers are actually what we submit to the VA, or county burials and trust fund and relief funds. And trust fund and relief fund is usually 2 visit also. They'll come to the window, we'll give them the documents, they'll get them signed, and then they'll come back for their appointment. So usually that's a 2-person visit or 2-visit trip, but we're only counting them once when it comes down to number 9 and 10. How many people actually got, had appointments.
Right.
Okay. I haven't had anybody complain that they had to wait an hour and a half for you to come by. We went to look for a key, so I appreciate your promise of service to the veterans in my district. The other numbers, from the GDX report, is there anything there that draws our attention that we should be paying attention to? I mean, I don't know in what context, whether these numbers are higher or lower in terms of year-to-date versus, are they trending up or down? Or
Well, the
is that-
veteran population is trending down.
Yeah.
That we have seen, and if you read in the remarks section on the last page, they get it from the VA Office of the Actuary. Well, try calling the actuary and asking them, where do you get this?
Yeah, good luck.
Because we have active duty. I don't think they're counting the active duty population, the guard population. They're not counting those. They're counting just true veterans who have gotten out, who use VA services. So,
All right, thank you.
yeah, that's to me is a mystery.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman.
Thank you. Next, we have Chairman Smith.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Laura. Thank you for coming on
Hi,
this
sir.
lovely day.
Yes.
I have some questions on the quarterly report. And I'm just looking, comparatively speaking, to last year, our numbers are lower on almost every category this year. And I'm just wondering, is that lack of staff, or if there's something that's driving these numbers to be down?
What I think is driving the numbers to be down, as far as the dollar numbers in like 11 and 12, and just even the people that are coming in.
People that are being
So
seen
the people that are coming in are being seen. A lot of the veterans that are getting out of the service, they're doing their claim while they're on active duty. So we might see them, we might not see them. Where before, they had to come in to see us because we did their claim.
So you're saying they're getting a little better info before they get out
yeah.
now?
Oh, they're getting their claim done before they get out.
Good, okay.
So the folks who we are seeing are the people from Selfridge, because
Okay.
they're sending them to us to get their claims done. But for all the people that are stationed everywhere else that return back to Michigan, to come home after they get out, they already have them done. The other thing is the VA has changed how they rate claims and do claims. So it's a queue now where it's not a paper file. So I send everything electronically, and Detroit could be doing a claim, or my claim that I just sent in could be done by California. It's one national queue. But here's the problem. When Detroit did the claim, they would give the copies to American Legion and VFW because they were on the same floor as Detroit, the raters. And as soon as they rated a claim, they would just put it on a table, and the next day they would take it off the table. That gave them the opportunity to make copies of that rating decision. So then I would get a copy immediately when they rated a decision. Now, American Legion, VFW, Purple Heart, none of the coalition is getting copies unless you unless you become a robot and check everybody's claims every week and look for them. So I have to actually now go in the VA system and look at, and I only have about 50 claims. My folks that work full-time on these claims, they've got probably hundreds that are pending.
Right.
And they have to look at those. So unless that veteran comes back to us for a question or an appeal, we don't see that they got awarded.
Okay.
And so it's harder for us to track that.
Got it. Okay, and I read through your, what's the name of this thing here? What every veteran should know, the Veteran Information Services, and it actually sounds like they're doing a lot of things to, and I'm not real thrilled with most of the things that he's doing, but it sounds like the president signed in some Accountability and Whistleblower Protection Act, and it looks like they're doing some things off taking the, some of the years off the wait for the appeals. I can't believe it's 5 years to appeal at this point. Anyway, it sounds like there are some good things kind of coming down the line here too for the veterans, which I'm happy to hear. And
We get this quarterly, so are you interested in seeing this?
I
And
like
adding
seeing
it?
it.
I mean, monthly, no, actually, I think we get it monthly or quarterly. So I'll add this to everybody's.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Yeah, I like that.
That would be perfect. Thank you. Next, we have Commissioner Lucido.
Hi.
Sorry to press my button. I just want to go back to that service officer that you were talking about hiring. I appreciate that you were talking about hiring a veteran. I'm wondering, I know you said part of it was the delay, but did it have anything to do with maybe what we were offering as far as salary or
Oh,
benefits?
yes.
It did.
Yes. Our
Okay.
salary is 10,000 less than everybody else's.
In other counties?
Oakland County gets 10,000 more. Even St. Clair County gets 10,000 more.
Okay.
Actually, their service officers get what I get paid. So that's it's hard, it's very hard to compare to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, thank you.
So and I tell everybody when they get interviewed, or hey, we're in a pay study. I'm hoping for the best, but
Right.
that's all we can do.
Well,
So for the
that's
best.
something we need to
And
think about.
I tell everybody also, you don't do this job for the money. You do this job because you have a calling. And if you don't have that calling, then this isn't the job for you, because you got to have the calling to help others. So
It's true. Okay, thank you.
thanks.
Thank you. Next, we have Commissioner Leonetti.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hi, Laura. Good to see you. I'm looking again at your quarterly report. On the right column, under quarterly accomplishments, outreaches are 12. Are those 12 new people that you've gone out into the field and brought in? Is that what that number stands for, the outreaches?
That's usually speaking engagements.
Okay, okay.
So my goal that I can control is how do I get more veterans enrolled in healthcare, or how do I
Absolutely.
get them knowing what they don't know? How do I
Gotcha.
introduce them to VA benefits when they got out in World War II and they don't know about, so we do speaking engagement.
Okay, so that number represents the different places you've gone to try to recruit. That's very important. As I indicated before on the campaign trail, I found a lot of veterans that were clueless. And I'm like, look, there's a service here. Contact the service and they'll be able to help you out. The other question I have, and I think you may have already explained it when you asked or answered Chairman Smith's questions, on your key issues, you indicate not receiving decision letters. Is that whole computer software thing you were
Yes.
talking about
Yes.
where you got to go, okay, I got you. I understood your,
So we're not receiving decision letters in a timely fashion. So when, I got a call from somebody that even worked in my office as a work study. That's basically the VA paid for him while he was going through college. And he won his appeal, and it went back to 2008. And he got over $200,000. But I would never have found out unless he called me.
okay.
But that's good numbers to put, because that's more money back in our economy.
Sure, no question about that. What is there any on these key issues? I mean, I get the Wi-Fi and all that. That's something the county can help you out. You get your IT department over there, and we can get you on Wi-Fi. What about this not receiving decision letters? I mean, is there anything that can be done about that?
Internally, we're trying to, what I've done is I've taken one day from every one of our counselors, from having appointments to basically answering phones, catching up, and basically checking statuses of
Follow up,
claims.
yeah.
So it's taking one day away from appointments, so that's less appointments, but that's one day that they can spend checking the status of all those claims.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it takes a whole day.
Sure, it's an important data for us to have. You know what I mean? When we make a decision to see how well those things are going. So, okay, good to see you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Next, we have Commissioner Romano.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hi, Ms. Rios. Your statement about you have to have a calling, that's nice to have a calling if you're not concerned about the pay, but you can't tell that to your creditors. I have a calling, so that's why I'm not going to pay you. It'd be nice if we could pay them so they wouldn't have to have the calling. On your quarterly report, just to, I guess for my own information, maybe for some of the other commissioners, the county burial allowance equates to like $300 per veterans. Now, how many veterans are passing away that maybe, or better yet, how is the county notified? The funeral directors, or how do you, somebody passes away and,
I send them a letter
well, fine, but how do you know they're veterans?
because it's on their death certificate,
And you get copies of their death certificate?
every single one of them, from the
Oh.
clerk's office.
And it says on the death certificate that they're veterans. I learned
does.
something new today. The other thing is the marker reimbursement. Am I reading here that we also allow $100 towards the marker, towards a marker? And if they don't want the marker, do we?
Well, not everybody's buried in a local cemetery. So
Okay.
if they're buried in Great Lakes National Cemetery, there's no cost to them, there's no reimbursement for the marker.
Right.
They can still get $300 towards the funeral because there is still funeral cost. There's
Right.
just not plot expenses. So it's based off of their income, and they have to have less than 40,000 in assets. And it's a state law. It's one of the state public acts that directs the whole entire state that we pay this.
So more than not, you pay the 300, but probably not the 100 for the marker. Depends.
Honestly, I'd say probably 70% are being still buried locally, and maybe 20 to 30 to 25 might be going up to Great Lakes.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
It's not
Thank
in
you,
our
Chair.
county, so Great Lakes isn't in our county, so it's still, and a lot of people bought their plots, you know, it's the
Years
same
ago.
family
Years ago.
plot from 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Thank you,
already
Ms. Rios.
pre-bought.
Thank you. Last but not least, Commissioner Sagar.
Yeah, Laura, how long has that pay study been going on?
It's the county pay study.
Yeah, with the other tri-county areas to attract people.
Well, we started our own pay study in 2010. So we our department tried to get a pay raise in 2010. So that wasn't successful. It just sat pretty much dormant. And then when I became the director in 2013, we relooked at it, but then the county was already looking at a pay study for the whole county. So that's on the side burners.
And how far are we in matching with the other counties?
I'd say about 10,000 off.
That's quite a bit. But you're not the only department, let me tell you.
Well, yeah.
You can just stand in line with the rest who are underpaid, but I'm glad you came forth to let us know why it's tough to getting people to work for you.
Well, I was also talking to someone on Friday in the local area, and I ran into him, and he had his VA ID badge. And I'm like, so where do you work at the VA? I'd like to know. Do you rate claims? Because that would be really no. You know, let's become friends real fast. So he does work at the VA regional office in HR. And I said, well, I'm going to have an opening. Would you like to drive 3 miles to work instead of 20 or 30? Pay for parking, because they have to pay for parking down there, and they have to pay city taxes. So it's something to look at when you go to work. 3 miles is very convenient versus 30 miles and Detroit city taxes and $200 a month for parking. So I said, please apply.
Okay,
We'd like to see him.
thank you very much.
I'm hoping. I'm working my magic.
There you go. Last on the list that I've got here is Commissioner Drollet.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here in your presentation. Haven't we had a couple of millages that have passed to support Veterans Administration and Veterans Services the last number of years? And has none of that money gone toward salary increases in any way?
No,
Really?
no, because that's directed by the county.
Okay,
So it's
so-
part of AFSCME. We're part of the union.
Right.
Well,
So
I'm
the
not,
union
they are.
contracts have essentially guided the financial reimbursement. But the department's budget must have gone up substantially as a result of the approval of those millages.
No.
So,
So-
well, what was the
So-
benefit of approving the millages if no more money came?
Okay, so this latest millage that was approved last year doesn't go in effect until next year.
Right,
It's
but-
levied in December, so we can't ask for a raise until I get the money.
No, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I must be thinking, I know there was another millage that passed.
4 years ago.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that must have substantially increased the,
It didn't. It was a
Continuation.
continuation. It didn't increase the millage. It was just a revote. Yeah, so
Point
it
of
was a
information, Mr.
0.04.
Chairman.
Commissioner Brown.
Yeah.
At one time, the county funded the Veterans Department out of our general fund.
right.
So in order to take pressure off the county budget, some people said, well, let's get a county millage to support veterans. That will relieve pressure off the county's general fund and transfer it to the taxpayers and let them, pick up the tab. So it was essentially a wash in terms of budget, in terms of money going there. They didn't-
Okay, so the millage didn't end up providing more resources to
Well, I
veterans.
wouldn't
it
say
just-
that. I wouldn't say that.
The
but-
original millage did not.
Yes, it-
Original
yes, it
millage
did.
matched.
The original millage was in
it-
2008.
That's right.
Okay, so I wasn't here in 2008. I came on because of the millage. It allowed our
There were
office to hire
there were
3
additional
people.
servers. There was more money that came into the department, and they did hire a
Yes.
couple extra staff to help get out there. So there was value to that, and, but it just bears reminding where the origin started. Thank
Okay.
you. I'm beyond my time as point of information. so.
Thank you, Commissioner
Thank you.
Brown.
As one who respects the rules of the board and the quorum, I will withdraw my.
Fair enough. Commissioner Drollet.
Thank you. I appreciate that background information. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? We have a motion and support to receive and file. Please vote. Laura, thank you very much. Well done.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Thanks.
That's why I sit across from Kathy Polk, she used to turn around and hit me all the time.
Well, she can probably still throw something at you.
She knows where I live.